Hello and welcome to Talking Good Games. Just finished England 2, Poland 1. A little insight on what's to come on the Hammers Chat Forum channel in the summer ahead of Euro 2020. We'll be covering a lot of the competition, not just England, not just Scotland, even a little bit of Czech Republic, but general Euro 2020 football. Anyway, Gonzo, happy fan tonight.
Yeah, it was all about the result tonight, all about the result. And I'm not just saying that now. I actually was thinking it today when I was looking ahead to the game. It's the Poland's draw before was quite pivotal because I just thought it was going to come down anyway to the head-to-heads between England and Poland. Barring a slip up against Hungary or something like that, England have just got to do their job now. And it's only first place in this group which qualifies you. So these are important. It is... Historically, England have tripped up against Poland in the past as well. So some things went our way. We didn't play well, but it was all about the result.
I think this set of fixtures, your three games, this one in particular was a competitive way of sort of working out his Euro 2020 squad, because this is where it's a bit weird having the Euros in the middle of a World Cup qualifying campaign, because usually the Euro Championships are finished, then you move on to the qualifying campaign. But with the way the situation is, normally you're playing friendlies at the minute, uncompetitive, unnecessary. Clubs are coming to the crunch part of the season where they don't want the players involved in the internationals, and players like Maguire, Kane, and so on, they don't need to compete for a spot at the Euros or that. So actually having the World Cup qualifiers, I think, gives Southgate a massive advantage to put them in a competitive environment and have a little look at some players that there's a lot of players in this England squad that wouldn't have made it to Euro 2020 had it been last summer. Connor Cody, even Phil Foden to some extent, I don't think would have made it in the squad. Jack Grealish, yeah, there's plenty of players in the squad now that wouldn't have made it. It's given Southgate an opportunity, and I thought the three games was something like that. Anyway, let's talk about the game. It took you 20 minutes to get your goal. Like Harry Kane penalty. I thought it was a bit of a soft one. Maybe it's like my anti-England lens is coming on, but I don't think it is. Raheem Sterling goes down, and it's a bit of a soft pen for me, Gonzo. I think he's already on his way down. There's a little bit of contact, but the ball.
Yeah, no, he looked for it. He looked for it. He played for it, Sterling. There's no doubt about that at all. But it was a good run, and it was a good, incisive run. And I know I say this about West Ham anyway, all the time. I felt England lacked pace. We didn't have enough fast players on the pitch. It was quite clear. So it had to be Sterling doing that job. Really, particularly when you got Foden, you got Mount, who basically want to do the same job. Harry Kane's not going to stretch the back line at all and run in behind to any effect at all. So yeah, I mean, it was a good run. It was a good run, and it was an important goal because whilst we had the possession, whilst I thought Mount was playing well and Sterling was playing well at that point as well. Whilst we might well have been in control, I didn't feel we were particularly threatening or had a cutting edge.
Yeah, I thought you were comfortably boring, if you like. I thought it was a very slow-paced game. I think Poland were a bit too afraid to attack you, which suited you a little bit, but you just didn't really have... For the players, if you look at that sheet of paper, that England team, you think, wow, that's a strong team, lots of creativity in there, but you saw very little of it on the pitch, actually. And it was always probably going to take a little bit of individual ability, if you like, to do something, because you just didn't seem to have that. No one was opening up the Poland defence. They were quite deep, the Poland defence, but they are quite tough to break down at times. But I just felt that you didn't really pressure them enough. One shot on target in the first half, won the penalty spot, and it was a bit comfortable, but not really threatening. What did you make of the first half and overall?
Well, I find it a funny system. I don't know what the system is because if you're playing Mount and you're playing Sterling and you're playing Foden, I would expect one of them to continually pop up in the number 10 position. But they almost all seem to be wide all of the time, which was just odd because I thought that was what we were missing, was that guy and the number 10 to pull the strings. Now, I don't care if it was Mount or if it was Foden. I would agree Sterling would have to be wide. Maybe the other two swapping over, but they were sort of trying to overload that left-hand side, if you like, with Sterling and with Mount, which was... I didn't think Phillips had a bad game, by the way. He's a good player, but again, it's one defensive midfielder too many for me. He is a little bit cautious there, whereas I think if you were to change that team ever so slightly, and I think in the Euros, perhaps Jordan Henderson plays there and not Phillips. But even him, just to take somebody else who can open something up and do just someone a little bit more creative there. I think you get a goal, and I think when they're backing off like that, you're looking for a long shot, and we didn't seem to be doing that either. But I did think they were sort of systematically fouling Phil Foden as well from the off. They seemed to be really going for him, and he was getting frustrated, and to a certain extent, it sort of put him out of the game.
I think you need someone like Ward-Prowse alongside Rice. I think because I think when you're someone like England, team sit back, you are going to rely on set pieces. I'm aware you scored your goal from a set piece, but Ward-Prowse is an unbelievable set piece taker. But he allows that creativity from deep as well. And when you are getting free kicks on a halfway line, England tend to play it short, which is fine and understand why. But now and again, especially when you've got someone as good in the box as Maguire, sometimes actually getting Ward-Prowse just to launch it in from deep is probably not a bad thing. But anyway, half-time came and went. Then it was 1-1, just 13 minutes later. Gonzo John Stones, an excellent season for Man City, but a massive lapse of concentration there. I gave the ball away, and Brighton's motor thundered it past Nick Pope, 1-1.
Yeah, you get the impression that he wants to play like, well, certainly Stones does, but Southgate wants that as well, which is really funny. It's a bit contradictory, really. He wants his centre halves to play out from the back, but then he plays two defensive midfielders and not really a number 10. You know, all right, mate, if you want creativity, just let the creative players do it. But they are both comfortable on the ball, Maguire and Stones. I think they're both encouraged to do that. It was a silly mistake, and it was all his fault. That being said, I didn't agree with Lee Dixon, who said the keeper had no chance. I thought there are other keepers who would have saved that. I know it was fast, I know it was hard, but it still was, 10 odd yards away from him, and it just sort of went through him, really. I'm pretty sure he won't be the goalkeeper for the Euros anyway, because it'd be Pickford. But yeah, I mean, it was a bad goal to concede, and particularly when you've got such control. But this is what happens when you concede the what can I say? The attacking initiative. When you don't play those extra players, you are going to invite that onto yourself. And I just think that England have got so many good players, so many good attacking players to choose from. I think this will be a recurring theme. I just think just get another one, just get another attacker on.
Yeah, I think massive individual error, but you can write it off. It's not something for England to worry about. John Stones making an error like that. We've seen him play for Man City all season. To my knowledge, he hasn't done that this season. So sort of just get on with it kind of thing. What I will say, did you see the reports earlier in the week that Nick Pope's been advised to leave Burnley should he want to be number one for England?
I hadn't read that, no. You think Southgate's advised him, do you?
Apparently, the England setup, if you like, advised him to leave. What I will say, normally things like that wind me up a little bit. If I saw something that says Declan Rice, I think rubbish, right? I actually agree with the Nick Pope one. And it's got nothing to do with the size of Burnley. It's because he's rubbish with his feet. And that's because of Burnley. Because Burnley don't play football. Nick Pope gets encouraged to boot it down the park over and over again. Don't play it from the fence. Get rid of it. And you can see it. You saw it against Albania and you saw it again tonight with the ball at his feet. He's just not comfortable with it. He don't like it. He hesitates. He takes 4 touches. Honestly, Nick Pope, when I saw that article saying Nick Pope needs to leave Burnley if he wants to be England's number one, for the first time in a long time when it comes to sort of encouraging someone to leave a club to pursue international football, I have to say I think it's the right thing to do. And watching tonight, I think that's why Jordan Pickford's England's number one. It's not necessarily his shot staving. I think Nick Pope is better at shot staving than Pickford, but Pickford is good with his feet. And I think you need that when you're England. When you are going to have majority of the possession, you need to have the ability to give it back to your goalkeeper. When Kyle Walker or Ben Chilwell may get caught up field and your centre-backs are outnumbered, they need to be able to turn around and give it to the goalie, move and get it back from the goalie. And I don't think Nick Pope allows that. He was close tonight. He belted out Declan Rice on the edge of the box, and luckily Rice just stuck a leg out to try and touch it, and it fell to an England player. On another day, it's a John Stones thing all over again. Poland get it and they're in. And so I just seen that report, and I actually agreed with it for the first time in a long time. Anyway, you had a lot of possession, Gonzo, but until the 85th minute, you didn't really do anything with it. And the manager was a bit, hesitant to make a sub. He didn't make one until he scored.
No, It was very familiar, wasn't it? Really.
It's like a West Ham review. This we need pace. We need subs.
We sat back. We encouraged them onto us. Yeah, absolutely.
And our keeper's crap at distribution.
Yeah. Although I will say for Pope, he can throw it really well, and he does throw it quickly. Which so you do wonder if he had a bit of kicking technique, it would probably be of benefit, and you feel he would be able to see the opportunities because he does throw it quickly. Yeah, I mean, I thought we were worse in the second half. Well, clearly we conceded in the second half, but it is weird, isn't it? In fact, I thought in all the games we should have scored more goals. It won't matter now. It won't matter that we only scored 5 against San Marino, 2 against Albania. I think that probably won't matter now because of the way the results have gone and because we got the victory. But you did get the impression that Southgate was thinking, okay, 1-0. We'll carry on sort of playing in this sort of plodding sort of style. Yeah, look, it wasn't great, but it was all about the result. It was. It just wasn't a particularly entertaining performance. It was always going to be, well, I guess the second most important game. The most important game will be away to Poland, but by which time they can't even afford to draw another game. England could lose that game and still go through if we win all the others. So it wasn't great. It wasn't exciting. It was a boring game. It was a really boring game, actually. But yeah, picked one to cover here, haven't we? So, and I wanted the subs to come on as well, But I didn't want Foden to go off. I wanted to take Phillips off and put, probably Lingard on, actually.
85 minutes though, you got your winner. Corner in from the left-hand side. John Stone makes amends for his error, heads it down into the danger area, and Maguire smashes it home.
Really good technique, really good finish, wasn't it? That's probably Gareth Southgate saying, that's why I have centre halves with technique. Yeah, but I mean, and you can't say it was lucky. England deserved to win the game. But if you're having to rely on whatever it might have been, a sort of half volley from a centre half with that sort of technique, then you are inviting a bit of trouble on yourself. There's a lot of players to come back for England. That's the other thing I would say. That's not going to be, I don't feel, the composition of his team. I think he will switch formation for certain games. I think he's got massive choices in almost all areas of the pitch, apart from centre forward, maybe. I think Walker is a bit of a hindrance when we are playing teams like that, for instance, because actually in a game like that, you're much better off having a Trent Alexander-Arnold, somebody that can offer something a bit more attacking. Go on.
But Kyle Walker plays for Man City, the team with the most possession in the Premier League. You expect Kyle Walker to be able to play in a setup that's used to deep defences and so on and so forth. I don't disagree with you, by the way. I don't think Kyle Walker's your best right back. I think it's Reece James, but I just think he should be able to play that.
He should, but it's sort of Cancelo and the other gigs that does that sort of thing, isn't it? Really, he's and you think that Southgate sort of likes to do an Aaron Cresswell with him. Really, he likes to play him at right centre back of a 3 when he plays that particular formation. Yeah, it's just not. I'd go with technique every time. I like Chilwell there. I like Chilwell on the left, but I don't think there's. I think there was a massive drop off between Shaw and Chilwell. But I do like Chilwell. I think he's going to offer you a little bit more of technique. Really, when you got teams that are sat back, you're going to need a really accurate cross. You're going to need a really defence splitting pass, like Mason Mount's pass, which played in Sterling for one of the earlier attacks as well. And if you can get your fullbacks with a lot of technique, that's going to help as well because, well, Liverpool do it, don't they?
Yeah, anyway, do you want to talk about Declan Rice a minute? It's West Ham channel. I have to confess, Declan Rice makes me sort of not mind watching England. I don't know how to phrase it. I've never not minded watching England. It's football, but I don't mind watching Crystal Palace against Burnley. But actually, I don't know. I complain when I watch Crystal Palace against Burnley. But Declan Rice is the first player since Trevor Sinclair that I actually want to do well in an England shirt as well. And I thought he was man of the match again tonight, Gonzo. He's man of the match against Albania officially. Tonight, I thought he was. Can I just read you some numbers from the Declan Rice's game? I like my stats. So, when I say first, second, or third, this is England's starting 11. So Declan Rice compared to the rest of the other 10 in the team. So 94% pass completion, third. 2 dribbles, second. 5 tackles, first. 2 interceptions, second. 2 clearances, first. 3 blocks, first. Lots of possession, 0, first. I thought he was outstanding tonight. I thought Declan Rice was just outstanding once again.
Yeah, and he when he did win the ball back, they were sort of key moments as well. And he does what he does, which is he wins the ball back. And I keep saying this for West Ham games. He wins the ball and he keeps the ball at his feet. So he then travels round away with it. It doesn't ricochet. It doesn't bounce off. There's no second ball to be won when Declan Rice does a tackle. It is just off he goes. And I was pleased to see the way he's playing now, because now he's playing like West Ham Declan Rice for England, which is, if there isn't a pass on, he'll do a little sprint. He'll travel with the ball. Also, when he did give the ball away, I don't know if you saw it in the second half, he tried to pass, it didn't, and he jumped in. Like this. He was really disappointed with himself. When I saw it, I sort of got the impression that he was fancying 100% passing completion rate, because he would have been aware of his past stats for last time. There's no doubt about it that he's a massive favourite of Gareth Southgate's, and he's as good as most, if any, in that position that he plays. He really is a top quality footballer.
He's so good. You don't need Callum Phillips. You know, if Callum Phillips started and Declan Rice didn't start tonight, I think you'd almost need another defensive midfielder in there with Callum Phillips, just in case. Who I don't know, but another Callum Phillips, Sean Longstaff. You would need someone else next to Calvin Phillips. But because Declan Rice is so good, it's actually him that makes Calvin Phillips unnecessary in there. Because Phillips is a good player. I don't like comparing the two, but you have to when they play tonight. I thought Phillips played well tonight. I think he's a fantastic footballer. Rice left West Ham, we signed Phillips. I know it won't happen, Leeds fans, but hypothetically, if that happened, I would be happy with it. But I'd be all right, that's a decent replacement. But I think Rice is just suited to the way that England play now. And at one point you saw him arguing with Kyle Walker, because Kyle Walker wasn't where Declan Rice wanted him. Rice had the ball, looked up and had to turn and give it, and he could turn back to Walker as if say, "Why are you over there? Move here, will you? I couldn't pass to you." And I just love that. He's showing his leadership at England. When you first saw him for England, you could tell he was a little bit raw. He was a little bit new to the setup. He was a bit timid. We didn't see the West Ham Declan Rice. We saw a shy version of Declan Rice. But now, actually, you're seeing a chest puffed out Declan Rice. And I think he's actually probably benefiting from not having Jordan Henderson, because when he had Henderson next to him, he's got the boss, if you like. Henderson's in charge of Declan Rice, that hierarchy and all that. Now he's got Callum Phillips. He's probably in charge of Callum Phillips. He's probably saying to Callum, you go here, you go there. I'm in charge. I'm in control of the middle of the park for England now. It's probably helps having Mason Mount in the team. He probably feels comfortable telling Mason Mount what to do. Whereas when he's got say Raheem Sterling and Marcus Rashford, originally he would have been probably a bit shy to tell those people. Yeah, well, one of them's got a Premier League medal. What to do now? I think he's coming out his shell a bit more, and he's just, if England is an orchestra, he's the conductor of it tonight. I thought he was the one there with his little stick pointing at people, telling them what to do. I thought he was magnificent. I thought he really, really, really was. It's just whenever Poland didn't look dangerous tonight because Declan Rice kept stopping their attacks. Yeah. There was a couple of times there was a 50-50 in the halfway line. He went in for it. The Polish guy ended up on the deck rolling around, and play continued. I just thought fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, we'll start wrapping up. We don't want these reviews to be too long. What's your final thoughts on your England man of match, I guess?
I'd probably give it to Declan Rice, actually, but I thought because he played well both halves, I think in the first half, I'd probably be tempted to give it to Mason Mount, actually. I thought Mason Mount was really, really good. Full of energy, as well as he's had really good technique. I thought Sterling had a better game as well. I'm still not convinced by him. I think he relies too much on his pace. He doesn't have a trick. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he has bad technique. He has good close ball control, and he moves the ball quickly. But I mean, he changes direction quickly, but he doesn't have a trick. I don't feel he manipulates, but I just feel, Rashford has his shooting prowess. Rashford's really good at shooting. Sancho has bags and bags of tricks. Wouldn't be surprised if one of them. But again, Southgate likes him. And if Southgate likes you, like with any managers, then, you're in for a real shout. Clearly likes Mason Mount as well. I'd like to see England getting the ball to Harry Kane more. it's crazy considering how experienced Kane is, bearing in mind he's a Golden Boot winner, and bearing in mind how long he's been in the England setup. I still don't think we play massively to his strengths. But look, there's lots to be pleased about, and it's all about the points there, mate. It's all about the points, but it's just a little bit too cautious, Southgate, but it's working.
Yeah, I feel like Southgate always has a handbrake on for England a little bit. You can't, like, what he's got at his disposal. I don't think he gets the best out of them. Pep Guardiola, that was Pep Guardiola's team. They'd be beautiful to watch. You'd be scoring 2, 3, 4 goals a game, basically. You'd be outplayed teams left, right, and centre. You just never get that vibe with Southgate. You get the vibe that he's got a really good team morale and squad spirit. You know, you saw when Maguire scored, some of the players went to John Stones, and eventually everybody went to John Stones. But that's a good thing to see. I like that. I don't support England, but that's a good thing to see. That is a good indicator of harmony among the camp. And I think Southgate installs that. I think that's Southgate's strength. It keeps everyone happy. He knows how to manage them. And arguably, when you're an international manager, that's probably one of your key characteristics. You don't have them on the training ground for long. So actually, when they arrive, you want them to be arriving into a happy camp. You know, I said it when I did the England preview. I said, listen to Ben Foster's chat with Jack, mate, and Ben Foster was saying he hated England under Capello. He hated it. You took away the ketchup, and they had meals. Everybody had to sit at the table. Everyone had to be there for the exact time for the meal. No one's allowed to start until this exact time. So say 7 p.m. No one's allowed to. You're not even allowed to start at 6 or 9. 7 p.m. till you can eat, and no one leaves until the last guy's finished. So he said some people are finished early, have to just sit there waiting for someone to eat. He said obviously Beckham was there taking his time, and everybody was looking at Beckham like, hurry up, mate, But Ben Foster said when he first joined in that squad, he was young, so he would always hurry his food because he didn't want to be the last one eating. So he'd be scoffing it, then he'd be like, come to wait because he ate his food. So he just hated England, and I just think Southgate's always had that happy camp. And sometimes it's a good thing, but I think sometimes tonight, I thought it was boring. Yeah, it was about the results, but ahead of the Euros, you want to see a little bit more from England from that. I'm aware he's missing like some Rashford and stuff that will get into the team, but it wasn't something that says we are capable of winning the Euros, that performance. It was a little bit lackluster, and majority of that is probably laid at Southgate's feet. But you got the win, and that's the most important thing. Anyway, shall we leave it there, my friend?
Yeah, just one thing. I think England can't complain anymore about not having the players. I don't think we can, or the old thing that was trotted out. There's too many foreigners playing in the Premier League, which is stopping England players getting a chance. England have brilliant midfielders, brilliant centre backs, brilliant full backs, a world class striker, loads of attacking midfielders, wide players who are midfielders playing at Borussia Dortmund, at Champions League, and at a top level at Chelsea, at Man United, at Man City. There is no excuse for England anymore. And there was a time with England where you had to play Paul Ince and David Batty in central midfield because realistically, if Gaza was injured, there wasn't really anyone else to open things up. We were relying on one player. It might be Glenn Hoddle, it might be Gaza. This is not the case. You could play Mason Mount, you could play Phil Foden, and you could play Jack Grealish behind, and you could do lots.
James Maddison on the bench.
Absolutely, and Jesse Lingard. There are lots and lots of these players out there now, and Liverpool. I guess are they still European champions? They are, aren't they? Right? Sorry, that's the year before, wasn't it? They were league champions, of course. But there's Champions League winners in there. This is if there's any time to be adventurous, it's now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anyway, if you enjoyed this review, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Like we said, we'll be trying to cover more of the Euro 2020 stuff in the build up to it. We'll do some videos around who we think should be in the England final squad and things like that. So join in, hope you like it, and Gonzo, I'll catch you in a bit.
Cheers, mate.